с радостью передаю слово нашему первому спикеру, нашей гости из Дальневосточного технического рыбохозяйственного университета,
To our new speaker, the first one, Olga Shestak, head of scientific department of the Far Eastern
Antiplagiat при контроле нарушений авторской этики
State Technical Fisheries University.
И про основные алгоритмы выявлений. Ольга Игоревна, вам слово.
Olga, please, the floor is yours.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Я хочу поприветствовать всех сегодня на конференции и поблагодарить Чеховича Юрия Викторовича.
Dear guests, I'm very happy to be here and to be invited at this conference.
Надеюсь, что опыт работы по
And I'm happy that I can present our work today, and I hope that my experience that I will share with you today will provide you with new insights. Let me show you my screen.
Итак, сегодня я хочу несколько
Today I would like to discuss several topics with you related to the ethics of scientific publishing. These are the topics and the challenges that we've been facing recently when preparing conference materials. We have about 4 or 5 conferences annually, about 6 sometimes. We also publish scientific journal Vladivostok, and I'm the member of the humanities journal Olga, dedicated to regional studies, and these last 2 or 3 years we've been noticing that there's quite a lot of violations of ethics in the submissions. Let me start from the end of my slides. This is the table that we've prepared based on the breaches that we've encountered. The problem is mostly objective in its nature, related to the new motivations for publishing scientific articles. I think that it is mostly related with the factors that motivate people to publish. 20, 30 years ago, people were motivated to share their new discoveries with the larger public. Nowadays, the publication itself is the main motivator. It is not important what do you publish, but the fact of publishing itself, because the requirements for publishing are quite harsh. You should submit some of the indicators and markers, quantitative markers, to the council to be able to be awarded a degree, both at the universities, at the Academy of Sciences, as well as in scientific institutes. As a result, we have a storm of materials that are submitted to our publishing house, and most of them contain some of the violations. By creating the database, we try to generalize some of the observations. Today, we encounter breach of ethics not only at the submission. When we receive a material, say an author worked with some data, etc., but also we see that an author takes a material, uses the Antiplagiat system that we also do use. to detect plagiarism, and after that they revise their text. So on the screen you can see the range of violations that we encounter for the stats. This is how it looks like based on the conference materials. As for clear material that we received, they constitute about 16% of the whole. While the harsh violations account for 25% of all the publications submitted. If we consider types of breaches, then the most common is the academic cheating, when a person takes someone else's work or their own previous work and republishes it or submits someone else's work as their own. Some of these works are preprints and those submitted from the Academy of Sciences. We work with texts and we realize that the language of the text is very old and the data provided is not timely. And we can see that the content of the article is not relevant. And sometimes we have the opportunity to check and to search for the primary source, and rarely, but we do find primary sources. Another violation concerns the translation of previous articles. Mostly these breaches concern translations from Chinese and Korean. Antiplagiat system does not detect them and do not recognize them. Next most common breach is the plagiarism of charts, graphs, and images. For us, it is rather a significant breach. And then we see paraphrasing of someone else's works, etc. If we take a look at the same statistics concerning scientific journals, then we can see that the percentage of quality material submitted is higher because we receive works from Academy of Sciences. We can see that the most common breach is plagiarism of charts, graphs, and images, and academic cheating is less common because the author's profile is different. We try to understand what to expect from authors, and we see therefore that those who cheat are mostly from the universities, and the authors who cheat less come from the Academy of Sciences and its branches. If we consider scientific profiles of these authors, we can see that economic, social, and humanities, psychology, philosophy, etc., a little bit less history. These are all areas of the most common academic cheating. However, the specific type of cheating that we encounter is the case when a person takes archival material and quotes it without any referencing. We can see that quite a lot.
Нарушение авторской этики со стороны, например, регионов, со стороны центральных российских.
Locally and centrally, we can see quite a lot of academic cheating. If we assume that in Moscow and St. Petersburg there is less cheating because the control is more strict and the anti-plagiat system is more common, then we would be completely wrong. There is no regional specifics of the cheating. Wherever an institution is situated, it doesn't matter, but it does matter where does an author comes from, etc. Another thing that I would like to highlight again, that the number of academic cheating, the percentage is very, very high. Going back to the beginning,
мы выработали такой свой алгоритм работы с текстом.
I'd like to present the algorithm of the work with text that we use.
Во многом ставим как раз систему.
We prioritize anti-plagiat system now. It provides us with various tools.
Часть текстов отсекаем.
However, we do not always use it because sometimes it is clear that the text does not satisfy all the rules even before the anti-plagiat. We analyze the quality of the bibliography, of the references, and if this text does not comply with the requirements with any of them, then we do not upload it in the anti-plagiat at all. I'd like to say another important thing, that the cheating occurs very often now in the bibliography. Let me show you.
Листая слайды, буду так немножко бегать.
Yes, let me just stroll through my slides. We can see a lot of cheating in the bibliography. Let's say that a subject is stated, but then the bibliography, the sources provided are very, very old. Or we can see that the sources provided were not used at all. Sometimes the number of the bibliography point is given without providing exact paging. We can see that the references are provided without pages, and if this is the case, then we suspect cheating or a breach of ethics.
Либо с литературой у нас идет текст, мы читаем.
Or sometimes we can read a text with seemingly correct formulas, but then by reading it more thoroughly, we can see that there is no bibliography and the content of the text goes far beyond sources provided. This is also the case to state that there can be suspected a breach of ethics. The example that you can see on the screen is rather peculiar. If you read something that is highlighted, this is a real article that has been retracted already, but was published. This is an example of a translated text that was translated from the Chinese source. Why do we know that this is Chinese? We invited our colleagues from the international department, and they stated that there are some of the formulas in the text that attest of the Chinese source. So this is a bad translation that was not edited. It was translated using the machine translation. Though machine translation does not work quite well with Eastern languages, but it was used nevertheless.
Вот еще один пример подобного.
Another example of a similar text.
С китайского перевода.
It was a translation from Chinese as well.
Который мы можем увидеть. Второе,
that we can see here.
Говорили, это вчера на конференции обсуждалось.
Yesterday, my colleagues spoke already about charts and graphs, and we know that Antiplagiat can browse and search through images, and sometimes we can see that the charts are not referenced. We can see that this is an image of a very low resolution without any sources. It cannot be edited. This is one of the cases that we encounter very, very often. Sometimes even in the materials submitted by the Academy of Sciences members, we have the chance to communicate with our colleagues from Academy of Sciences, and sometimes we can trace the source of such charts and graphs. We had another peculiar case. When we do upload the work into Antiplagiat, sometimes we see the following situation. We have two profiles of assessment. It can be full report in Antiplagiat, or it can be a type of assessment for corporate members. Let's say in an institution, some of the members or all of the members of it can have access to Antiplagiat. Those who have access to Antiplagiat
отслеживать студенческие работы на заимствование, отслеживать работу своих коллег.
They start using it for themselves instead of assessing students' works.
Работу
they do so by analyzing their own works and rephrasing and revising their own texts and then submitting them again. We started checking some of the authors that we suspected that were previously suspected of breaches. We used the full report regime,
нам становится доступной совершенно вся информация,
which provide us with the full information about authors. On the screen, you can see the real reports.
Брал студенческие работы в двух вузах.
An author took, for example, several student papers from one or several universities.
Вот мы видим тут работу, она проверена.
We can see that there was a paper that was submitted to the teacher.
И проверяется порядка недели, порядка, наверное,
we can see that the teacher, the professor, uploads the work several times into the Antiplagiat.
Авторство сдает автору, получает более-менее приличный, сдает руководитель.
And they know their work quite well, and sometimes teachers tend to use students' papers are perfected and written quite well as their own, and we have seen quite a lot of cases like that, and we spoke to our colleagues and they suggested that we should take a look into that. We took a closer look on those whom we suspected, and sadly this is the case. Well, another thing that we noticed in this practice, when we receive materials with ethical breach,
статистической зависимости мы видим, что это люди, которые работают
we can see that most of the time these people work for several institutions at the time. Thus they can use papers from one university to submit into another as their own. These professors tend to use their students' papers as their own in second or third institution of their employment. We can see that not only in authors in the Far Eastern region, not at all. We heard from our colleagues that this is the case for many regions. We've developed mechanics of the work with this kind of breach. Summing up, I would like to underline that these breaches have a systemic character. Sorry. In this situation, it is of the utmost importance to work closely together for us, and thank you for your attention. And I will be very happy to answer questions when it will be time.